Good day. In this video, we're going to look at how to sketch a hyperbola and then handle a few level 3 questions. That's part of grade 11 and 12. At the end of the video, you should be able to, by just looking at this picture, any one of these three, tell me whether the A is positive, negative, or equal to 0, B is positive, negative, or equal to 0, and Q is positive, negative, or equal to 0. Firstly, I'm going to quickly teach you the way I use to sketch a hyperbola. Here is the equation of the hyperbola. It is in standard form. It asks me to sketch it. The first thing I do, I say and I write, I have two asymptotes. The first one, you learn the rhyme, bottom equals to 0. So in the equation, this is the bottom part. So you write x plus 1 equals to 0 and solve for x. Then the first asymptote is x equals to minus 1. The second asymptote you write, y equals to back guy. So that gives you y equals to back guy is y equals to this rear plus 2. So my second asymptote is y equals to plus 2. So x equals to minus 1 is the one asymptote, y equals to plus 2. Then I fill them in on my Cartesian plane. Here's the y-axis, there's the x-axis, y equals to 2, x equals to minus 1. Next, we use a table to find other coordinates on the graph. In your table, you start with the vertical asymptote as your first x value, and you put two numbers left of him and two numbers right of him, or more or less. Then you plug these numbers into this equation, and you find the y values. Then you plot these coordinates on the Cartesian plane on scale. Then you'll have a broad idea where the hyperbola sits. In this case, we were lucky because we already worked out the x and the y-intercept. Here is the y-intercept where x is 0, and here is the x-intercept where y is 0. If they didn't pop out of my table immediately, I will work out my y-intercept by making x 0 and go to my equation and make x 0, work it out and get the answer is 4. Then I'll work out the x-intercept by making y 0, make that y 0 and work out the equation, times by the LCD. Simplify this equation and get the answer x equals to minus 2. If you don't understand what I just did, just stop the video and don't look any further. Right, what we found out while drawing this hyperbola, we worked out that if this number over here is positive, the graph will sit in this and in this quadrant. We worked out that if we have an x plus 1 down here, the vertical asymptote will be on the left-hand side of the y-axis. We worked out that that plus 2 is y equals to plus 2, stays y equals to plus 2, it is above the x-axis. And now we can use this in the level 3 questions. Please stop the video and try and understand what I did. Everything I explained to you up until now, I'm going to put in mathematical language now. In other words, if these are my two asymptotes, and my A is bigger than 0, that means positive, the graph will sit here and here compared to the asymptotes. If A is smaller than 0, meaning if A, the part up here, is negative, the graph will be sitting here and here compared to the asymptotes. Now for Q, the guy at the back here, if Q is smaller than 0, meaning negative, the asymptote will be under the x-axis. If Q is bigger than 0, means positive, the asymptote will be above the x-axis. If Q is equal to 0, the asymptote will be sitting on the x-axis where y equals to 0. Now for P, if P is bigger than 0, that means positive, the vertical asymptote will be on the left-hand side, on the negative side of the y-axis. If P is smaller than 0, means negative, the vertical asymptote will be on the right-hand side of the y-axis. And if P equals to 0, the asymptote will be on the y-axis where x equals to 0. Please don't think there's a mistake over here. Everything in functions that usually happens to x, the opposite is what really happens on the function. But try and get your head around that. This is definitely right. Stop the video and get your head around this. Now I'm going to do 3 examples with you. In a test they can write, is the sign of A, P, and Q positive, negative, or 0 in each one of the 3 sketches I'm going to do with you now? So give me the formula in standard form. Right, so I wrote in the answers down here for you. The numbers here is just as examples. Firstly, you know that A is bigger than 0, positive, because the graph is sitting in these two quadrants. Second, we know that P is smaller than 0, in other words, negative. If there was an x minus 2 down here, the vertical asymptote will be on the right-hand side of the y-axis. And then Q is bigger than 0 because the asymptote is above the x-axis. It could be y equals to plus 1. Could have a plus 1 at the back, then it'll sit up here. That could be x minus 2, and then the vertical asymptote will be here. It is a level 3 question because there is no actual numbers there for P and Q, but why not put in numbers and see what happens? Let's look at this picture. In this case, A is smaller than 0, negative, because the graph is sitting in this and this compared to the asymptotes. Next, we know that P is bigger than 0 because the vertical asymptote is on the negative side of the y-axis. And Q is smaller than 0 because the horizontal asymptote is under the x-axis. Example, if I had here where the x plus P was standing and x plus 2, the asymptote will be here. And if there was a minus 1 at the back here, the asymptote will be down here. That is not part of my answer. Last one for this video. Because the hyperbola is sitting in this and this quadrant, I will be smaller than 0 or negative. In this case, there is no vertical asymptote that we can see, but there is one on the y-axis. Therefore, P equals to 0. In other words, there will be just a clean x under the fraction. And because the horizontal asymptote is under the x-axis, Q is smaller than 0 or Q is negative. Please stop the video and try and get your brain around this. Please indicate whether you liked or disliked this video and subscribe to the channel. If you run into a mathematical problem on school level and you can't solve it, you can send a clear WhatsApp photo of your problem to this number. Then we'll try and solve your problem and send back an answer as soon as possible for free.